What's up, you guys? It's Astro coming at you with my very first Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel deck profile. Hopefully, this is going to be a series that I'm going to be able to do and just keep you guys updated with the meta as well as some decks that I think are more on the fun side and just how to run them, combos, things like that. This first deck that we're going to go over is a deck that I have a very personal connection to because this is a deck that I'm running in real life, and that deck is going to be Dragonlink, comprises of mostly dark and light monsters, literally dragons, of course. It's played more like a mid-range control deck more so than a combo deck, although as you guys will see in the replays that we'll have after the deck profile explanation that there are a lot of combos in the deck. It's pretty intricate, very fun to play, but it's very easy to misplay, as you will see misclicking can be the death of you. But let's just go ahead and hop straight into it. So we're just going to start at the top of the deck list and shuffle it down. I don't know how they have these cards separated. I hate it, but we're just going to kind of go with the way that they have it set up. Starting with Effect Veiler. Effect Veiler, basically a really good hand trap, negates monsters' effects on your opponent's turn. Most importantly, it's a light monster, which makes it searchable through Chaos Ruler. That's really the mainstay of why it's here. You don't really run a lot of hand traps in this deck, to be honest. I think there is a lot of flex space in here for like Ash, maybe Ghost Ogre, because Ghost Ogre would also be searchable. I don't know if any of the other Ghost Girls are searchable, but maybe like Ghost Bell and Haunted Mansion. But it gives you a lot of space to mess around with. I was running around with a lot of different variants of this deck before I landed on this one, and this one that I just landed on is most recent. I'm still kind of making alterations to it just to see what works the best. I've been messing around with different ratios with like the chamber package, different hand traps, different extra decks, things like that. But this is what I have so far. This is the deck that I used to get 2 platinum in the first season. So yeah, this is pretty much the strongest variant of the deck that I think that I've found. There might be a little bit more, but I do have reasons behind my ratios, why I have what where, and all that other stuff. So starting from Effect Veiler, like I said before, light, tuner monster. Tuner thing doesn't ever really come up, but it's just a light monster that you can use, banish it for fuel for your other cards. It's really good. Moving on, Black Metal Dragon. This card is used as a normal summon. When you link summon it off, it can go into and search out Red MD, which is the reason why we're running 3. It's a card that you want to see. It's not a card that you have to see though, but if you do see it, it can still do good things for you. Rocket Syncron is led into the Rocket package of 2 Rocket Syncron, triple Rocket Tracer, 1 Rocket Recharger, and double Absolute Dragon. Rocket Synchron's effect allows you to special summon a level 5 or higher Dark Monster, which basically with the only level 5 or higher Dark Monsters will lead straight into a level 8 Synchro, and you'll have access to both of your level 8 Synchros because they're both Dark Monsters. Really nice card to have. Basically just a level 1 Rocket Tuner that can be special summoned off of Root Sector Launch. It's really nice. It's there. We use it. Now, this was one that surprised me, and this is one that I've been messing around with the most. Between White Dragon Wyvern Burster and Black Dragon Collapse Serpent. These 2 cards are basically free special summons if you banish the opposite element, or the opposite attribute, I'm sorry. So Wyvern Burster just needs to banish 1 dark monster from the graveyard to get itself out, and Black Dragon Collapse Serpent only needs to banish 1 light monster from the graveyard to get itself out. These cards both are able to be used to make either Striker Dragon or Pisty on your turn 1, or is used as extenders off of whatever you use to summon them, or to summon Pisty or Striker Dragon to help extend your plays. They're basically a bunch of free special summons and free searches. They help thin out the deck. I've been kind of messing around. I tried 3 of each. I tried 2 of each. I tried 1 of each. 1, it just feels like you don't see them enough. 3, it feels like they are a little bit quirky. 2 felt like the perfect little slot for me to have them in, so that I can see them but not see them too much. They still get value off of their searches if you don't have chaos space in the graveyard, because like I said before, they can only special summon themselves out of the hand 1 time per turn, but the search for the other monster is not once per turn. So Wyvern Burster, as long as you get it onto the field and can get it off the field, will always search Collapse Serpent no matter how many times you do it within a turn, which is really nice. It helps you recur that material so that you use it for Dragon Ravine, or Quad Boral's effect, or Unicorn's effect, if you're going for a turn 2 disruption on your opponent. Rocket Tracer, I have this card at 3. I've seen a lot of people put it to 2. I think it's really important that you see this card. You want this in your opening hand, so that when you pitch off Absoluter off of like Dragon Ravine or whatever you use it for, you can just search out Rocket Syncron, so you have your Chaos Ruler into Hot Red Abyss play. This is the best Rocket. I don't think that needs to be said. Its value is unmatched. It can special summon Rocket Recharger out of the deck. It's really strong, level 4 tuner, easy level 8 synchros. Can also help make link plays. It goes well and it combos off really easily. Rocket Recharger literally only here to summon off of Rocket Tracer, so there's not really much to be said about that. Starly Safer. This is another great normal summon. This is one of your better normal summons in the deck. It's a great starter. The only thing that sucks is that its effect is a trigger effect, meaning that it doesn't activate as soon as you summon the monster. You have to summon the monster, wait for them to respond, and then activate its effect. So it's very susceptible to getting hit by things before you even get the chance to activate its effect. But with all that aside, it is still a great monster. Amazing effect that allows you to basically search through your entire deck for whatever you need. And then its graveyard effect is even more cracked. If you can get through and you can somehow end up getting Levianeer in the graveyard, basically allows you, it turns Starly Safer, not only searches out any of your other dragon monsters that you need, it also basically turns Levianeer into a searchable card. Now, Chamber Dragon Maid, this card is really, really good. The Chamber package is very, very strong. I really like it as a disruption. The only thing is that I know that a lot of people run 1 Chamber, 2 Tidying, which is actually what I run in the TCG. But I actually bumped it up to 2 Dragon Maids or 2 Chambers and 3 Tidyings. This basically gives you 5 of the trap card. When Chamber Dragon Maid is summoned at all, she gets to add a Dragon Maid spell or trap card to your hand, which is going to be Tidying. This is going to give you your disruption for the next turn, and it will allow you to, once you use that disruption, to special summon her out of the graveyard, or from your hand if you have her in your hand. Basically for free pluses and extensions on your next turn. The reason I ended up bumping this up is because I felt like I needed to see it more. When I have it at 1 and 2, it just doesn't feel like it's consistent enough. I feel like I'm constantly saying like, oh dang, I wish I had, Chamber in the graveyard, or I wish I had Tidy in my hand, and it feels like I never have both when I need it. So bumping it up, I feel like really has helped up the consistency to make it something that I can see every game. Moving into Absoluter. Absoluter is a part of the Rocket pack. We already talked about it a little bit. He gets pissed off. He searches a Rocket to your hand. If he goes to graveyard for any reason, which is really nice, whether it be for Synchro material, Link material, or if he's just sent straight to the deck for Dragon Ravine. Basically, free plus allows you to search out whatever other Rocket you need between Rocket Syncron and Rocket Tracer to make your level 8 into level 9 play. Noctivision. Noctivision is a really, really, really good card. I really advise that you keep this card at 3. You want to see this card in your opening hand. Noctivision is great. It helps you chain block. At least in TCG, it helps you chain block. I don't know if you can chain block in the OCG off of it, but it used to be just a situation where, like, say you play Chamber and they don't ask your Chamber to get to Tidying, and you go into Striker Dragon, you'll summon Striker Dragon, and then you'll chain block with Noctivision summoning itself, so they won't be able to ash you. I'm pretty sure in this game, since it goes by OCG rules, I'm pretty sure they can still ash the card, but it's just nice to have. It's basically still a free plus. It special summons itself, and when it's used as link material, it gets to draw you a card. Now, some of that is also very, very nice. It's basically like the secret effect that nobody knows about, is that it's the first effect. It's the first thing it says. When your opponent targets a face-down card that you control, you can banish Noctivision, you negate the effect, and on top of that, they can't target your face-down cards anymore. So if someone tries to Cosmic if you set Tidying, right, you play Chamber goes into Striker Dragon searches out, Boot Sector Launch, you go through your play or whatever. Turn 2, they try to say MST or Cosmic Cyclone your Tidying, you can just negate it. Banish Noctivision and you negate it. And then if, let's say, if you have, Called by the Grave or whatever other quick play spells you're running, or any other face downs that you have set, or your quick launch, whatever the case may be, they can't target anything. And they just kind of have to hold it, which is really nice. So, Noctivision having all the effects, it's a very useful card. I love this. I have learned to love this card to death. It has saved me so many games. It has literally won me the matchup against Trick Stars multiple times. Very much a clutch card. Now moving into our bigger dragons, we have one Chaos Dragon Levianeer. I don't see any reason to run this card with all the different ways you can get this card in your hand, off of different effects, off of different spell cards. I don't see a reason to run this card at more than one. I just think the effect is super powerful. If you're any type of familiar with Duel, you already know what this card does. The way this deck runs, you're going to end up with Darcy Lights all over your graveyard by the time you're ending up putting this card out. So whether it's going turn 2 to pop 2 cards on their field non-targeting, or turn 1 and you're ripping a card out of their hand before you even get a chance to draw, this card sees no end to its value. It's super, super good, very, very strong. I still love this card in this game. It's amazing. Now, moving into Red MD, it's at 2. I tried to run this card at 2, and this card kept bricking me. I had a couple duels. I think I had 2 or 3 duels where I ended up drawing both my Red MDs in the opening hand, and I threw my hands up, surrendered, and then immediately kicked it down to 1, and then kicked Black Metal Dragon up to 3. This card is one. It almost feels more like a win more card. It's really good if you get it out and you can get its effect to resolve. It's super strong. It's nice. It's basically a free plus. You go crazy with it. But the thing is that sometimes it doesn't, it doesn't come out. And there's sometimes where it's in your hand, but the monsters you have on the field you don't want to banish. So it's one of those cards where it's like, yes, I want to see it. Yes, it's nice to have. But more often than not, you're going to be using it as discard fodder. But if you do get its effect off, 2 thumbs up. Nice job, dude. It's really nice. It plays well with Chaos Space, which is the next card that we're going to talk about, because if you have a card, any of your cards that cannot be normal summoned or set, so say like any of your extra deck monsters, or Wyvern Burster, or Collapse Serpent, you can banish it to special summon Red MD, and then use Chaos Space to put the card back into the deck and end up drawing the card. That's going to lead us into Chaos Space, which is another one of those really, really, really great starters. It's basically safer, but it can only search out cards that cannot be normal summoned or set. So it's going to search Wyvern Burster or Collapse Serpent, which is also very good. If you use this card in combination with Absoluter, you're going to send Absoluter to the graveyard. You're going to search out Wyvern Burster or Collapse Serpent, and then Absoluter is going to grab one of the rockets and add it to your hand. So it's basically a 2-for-1. Really nice. Really strong effect, and then the effect to be able to draw a card off of it is also really nice. It helps in a lot of clutch situations. Chaos Space, really, really, really good start. Very good start. Dragon Ravine is here because we're running dragons, and we like to put dragons in the graveyard, because that's just how they work. Dragon Ravine can pitch out your Levianeer in the event that you started with Safer, or can send your Absoluter in the event that you need 2 rockets. For Boot Sector launch, it's just how it kind of goes. Dragons love the graveyard, so you got to put them where they want to be, man. Keep them home. Let them be at home. Boot Sector launch. This is one of those cards. It's another one of those cards that the ratio can change. This card's crack. It's ridiculous. It's stupid. It's dumb. But I only play one of it. I've had situations where I draw it and it sucks. I wish I had another one for Striker to search. But there's a lot more cases than not. It just kind of ended up breaking your hand if you end up drawing more than one. If you see more than one, it sucks. But it really is like one of the best cards in the deck. Literally, it's the advantage that it grants you is unmatched. If you end up keeping it on the field and you don't pop with Rocket Tracer's effect, you can end up using it to reload your field with Rocket Syncron, Rocket Tracer, and Recharger if you're in the event that you need to do that. That play has actually saved me a game before, so it's just really nice to have. Yeah, I run it at 1. If you ran it at 3, I would not blame you at all. This card is ridiculous. The more rockets you have, the more effective it is. It's super nice. That leads us into Quick Launch. This card is freaking ridiculous. This card is, it's one of those cards where it's kind of just like Pot of Greed. Draw 2 cards. Literally, it's just like special summon one rocket monster from your deck. The only disadvantage that it has is that it gets destroyed, but it doesn't have its effect again. So Tracer can still pop cards. Recharger can still special summon monsters. It's just it's just crazy. I don't understand how they made this card and just thought it was cool, or why it's still at 3. But I'm not going to sit here and ask questions. You know what I mean? We have Called by the Grave in here just because getting hit with hand traps sucks. Nobody likes hand traps in this card. This deck likes to special summon a lot, so if you have this in your hand and you see a Maxi and you can snipe it out, that is a very good feeling. Basically, I just kept it in here. Now, this could be other hand traps. I have seen people running different variants where they'll run like maybe say triple Veiler, Nibiru, one Ash, one Maxi, and then these will be 3 crossout designators. That's totally fine as well. I just kind of wanted to see how ratios work. This is, like I said, I've been working through a lot of different ways to run the deck to try and see what would work best. And Called by the Grave has been the most helpful. I was running Chalice before. You guys will see that as we went through the multiple deck variants. I was running Chalice here before, along with Effect Veiler, but it just seemed a little bit redundant to have 2 different monster negates from the hand. So, you know, what do you do? I ended up cutting off the Chalices and ended up getting Called by the Grave. Tidying bounces one card, a dragon monster back to your hand, and then you get to bounce a card from your opponent's side of the field back to theirs. Super nice card. It's basically it's just a disruption. There's nothing more to say about that. As well as a way to gain advantage. It allows you to banish itself to summon Chamber from the graveyard or your hand. That comes into play because you have 2 of them. So it's nice to be able to say banish one in the event that you need it for Levy's effect, but knowing that you have another one that you can use. It's just nice to have. That's going to move us into the extra deck. The extra deck is kind of self-explanatory. Our Synchro package is Borreload Savage Dragon, Papega Ruler, or Chaos Ruler, and Hot Red. Borreload Savage Dragon is itself, it's one of the best level 8 Synchros in the game, honestly. Especially with all the higher than, you know, with all the different Link monsters we run. If you're running Link monsters and you have the ability to make level 8 Synchros, you should probably be running Borreload Savage Dragon. This deck is no different. It allows you to get negates. It's really strong. It gets kind of big depending on what Link monster you use. And it's, like I said, like it's just a really good card. That's pretty much it. Chaos Ruler, basically the heart of this deck. It turns Effect Veiler from a light monster in the deck to a searchable hand trap, and that is ridiculous. I was running Duel and Lockbird in here before too, but I just found that it just wasn't matching up with synergy, and I was just ending up, it was just dumping itself off of Chaos Ruler's effect. That's like dumping itself on what could have been a Levianeer and a Safer, or like Chaos Space when I already have Black and White Dragon banished. Chaos Ruler does a lot. If this card gets hit in the slightest, like if it goes down to 1, it's cool, but if they take this card out of the game and they ban it, this deck is dead in the water, and we're going to be scrambling for answers. Run this card while you can. This card is ridiculous. And it allows you to it can't miss. Like with the way that the deck is set up, and the way that I have it set up, it literally can't miss unless I did something. It got me something crazy. Like it hit Called by the Grace, and all 3 quick launches. That's it. Other than that, every target that this card sends to every target that Chaos Ruler sends to the graveyard is live, and it can be used, and you should be using it. It's really nice. There's a couple plays that you'll see me go into, which will end up with Rocket Tracer and Rocket Syncron being summoned off of Broke Sector Launch. That'll end up getting us a free Chaos Ruler into Hot Red. Hot Red, really big monster. It's a negate. It's nice. It's strong. If it does battle damage, it's a special summon a tuner from the graveyard. That does come up, but like it's not really for any type of use. I think I did it to summon Appaloosa once, and like that helped, but I was already in a position where I was winning to do it anyway. So like, you know, what can you do? It's a good card to have though. Quick play effect, it negates any face-up card. So if they're trying to use like Raigeki, I don't think you can stop Forbidden Droplet with it. But field spells, monster effects, it can do it all. It's basically an Omni negate. It's really nice. The one thing that doesn't stop is hand traps and effects in the graveyard. The next card that we have is Sanafon. I run the Exceed package of Sanafon and the Zeus. I've been trying to mess around with that. I did try to run just Hope Harbinger Dragon, which is nice to have as it is a negate, but since it only negates spell cards, I decided to take it out for Sanafon because I thought Sanafon's effect would be a little bit more impactful. Basically, you make this with Chaos Ruler and Levianeer, as like once they're both done, once they both do their effects on your turn, they're just kind of just big bodies there. So you can turn them into Sanafon. Sanafon gets kind of big, depending on what point you're using it. It gains 100 attack for each monster in the graveyard, And once you detach the material for it, it can't be destroyed by card effects. And then neither player can special summon from the graveyard. That's it. Until the end of your opponent's next turn. So you go through your combo, you do whatever, you rip a card from their hand, you dump your graveyard, you dump your deck into the graveyard, you make Xanathon, you detach the material, and then you tell your opponent that they can't special summon from the graveyard. So there's a lot of decks that actually does hinder a lot, and you'll have to make people basically reform their entire game plan. Darn near can win you the duel. And then it does come to a point too where if you get it and it swings, you can go straight into Zeus, and now you have Zeus on the field, which is really nice. Of course, you don't have to run this package if you wanted to take these two out and just make more room for Striker Dragons, because for some reason this card isn't free here. It shouldn't be, but if you're running the more Striker Dragons you have, I suggest you run more Blue Sector launches because you have more cards to search. And it livens up, or it sucks. It sucks when your Striker Dragon gets ashed, but that's a part of life. It happens. I've just learned to kind of take that in stride. For every time that Striker Dragon resolves, there's a chance that it's going to get ashed or impermed or something like that. So there's that. I skipped over Pisty. Pisty is one of those cards that doesn't really come up too often. I think I ended up using the effect in one of the replays, and it ends up coming up pretty big. But I myself never really find myself using Pisty. I feel like I need to do a better job of trying to find combos that get me to using, say, Hieratic Seals with Striker on the right, Pisty on the left, and resummoning a monster like Red MD, like I did in the replay. It's just, Pisty's just Pisty. We wish it was LP, but what can you do? So Hieratic Seal of Heaven. I run 2. You can run 1. I just think it's nice to be able to have the first seal for your turn 1 and the second seal for a follow-up play. In the effect that you don't just win the second turn. Seals is super, super, super strong. It tributes itself out of the extra monster zone. You get to special summon a monster, any dragon monster from your deck, with its effect intact. The only problem is that its attack and defense go to 0. And if you're playing it right, ending on seals with tidying in the back row is a great job. If you can get to that point, you are totally fine, and you have made that's a great board, because that's two disruptions that are going to really mess up your opponent, on top of it being able to protect yourself even, depending on what you special summon off of it. Usually targets that I would say to go for would be Chamber. Chamber can still search out the tidying, which is really nice. You can even set out black metal if you don't have tidying in the back row and you just need black metal to take the shot so that you can get to Red D. You can even do things like summoning Absoluter. Absoluter can get destroyed and you can search out a rocket. It's just plays upon plays upon plays. It just depends on what you want and what you need. But yes, basically you can run it at 1, so you just have it for your turn 1 play, and then you can make room once again for more Striker Dragons or whatever else you wanted to throw into the extra deck. But I just like having a suit. Or I like having 2 suits. Romulus, basically, its purpose is just to search out Dragon Ravine. There's not much to say about that. Quad Brawl is going to be what helps you play through Nibiru. I, fortunately, have not come across Nibiru at all on the ladder. I think I came across it one time, and the dude waited till I got Savage Dragon up, so it got negated, which is pretty hilarious, actually. But, if you end up with Seals on the field, Seals ends up getting tributed for Nibiru, gets a special summon a monster. You can summon out Red MD. Red MD will summon out another monster, you go into Quad Brawl. Or Red MD can summon out one of your rockets, you go into Quad Brawl. And you just go from the play from there. You can end up going into like Savage Dragon or Appaloosa even. There's a lot of different ways you can go to. You can even go into Chaos Roar or Hot Red if you haven't done it already. It's like, once again, it's just one of those things that just kind of depends on the situation. And it's one of those decks where like things will happen, you react to it. We also run IP Masquerena Nightmare into access code. This is basically just if you need to push for game. There's a lot of times where you can end up with boards of Seals with tidying with Masquerena, and like basically what's going to be the choices: do I tribute Seals to disrupt them to go into an indestructible Nightmare Unicorn on their turn, spin a card back into the deck, or do I want to do Seals and then tidying and then, what I'm saying, just normal points. It's just basically getting the 3 4. Last card I have in here is Appaloosa. It's a card. It's a link for. It lets you use its counter. It lets you use its attack to negate monster effects. It's really good. It doesn't come up a lot, but it will win you a game. I promise you. If you put Appaloosa in the deck and you make it at the right time, this card is a card that it will win games. It's very nice. It's nice to have. And like the thing is that it's gonna sit in your extra deck a lot. It's not gonna be used, but when it comes up, it comes up. So I like having Appaloosa in the deck, just to have the ability to make Appaloosa if I need it. It's really nice. And then once again, access code is just access code. If you're pulling on to make this deck, you're probably gonna end up getting Boral Sword Dragon. You can use that too. It's just not as good as access code Talker, but you know it's interchangeable. Some suggestions for the deck that I would like to make is Chalice is a good way to kind of stop monster effects so that you can play if you're ending up going turn 2. This deck is built right now, how I have it set, is built really to go for turn 1. Another card that I could use would say for good draw power would be Pot of Avarice, I believe. If you're in the grind game, I spelled avarice wrong. Let's just look up Pot. If you're ending up in the grind game a lot of the time, you're gonna end with a lot of monsters in the graveyard. So Pot of Avarice can actually like get you some advantage while also refueling your cards like Rocket Tracer and Boot Sector Launch. If you keep Boot Sector Launch out. But it's a really good way to funnel through a lot of your cards. You can end up sending things like Striker Dragon and Pisty and a lot of those 1-ofs that you run, all 3 of these guys back into the graveyard to reshuffle for use again. You can even shuffle back your Sandafon and your Zeus, and then get some draw power off it. Really nice. I was thinking about putting it in the deck. The only reason that Pot of Avarice is not in the deck right now, not only is it because I thought of the idea of putting it in less than 37 seconds ago, but also because I don't know what to take out for it yet. So if I figure that out, we might end up with an updated deck list, but until then, it's not in. I also don't have it, but I got the idea from Zeus, watching Zeus play. It's kind of similar, but not similar. But yeah, man, basically that's the deck list. If you guys like the video, if you like the video, like the video. And make sure you guys subscribe. It really helps out with the channel. I'm going to try and do my best to continue to push out more content for the game. I'm also going to get back into my Let's Plays that I was doing. But yeah, for right now, I hope you guys just enjoy the replays, kick back, and hope you guys all have a great rest of your day. Catch y'all later.